This is Bucket Talk, a monthly podcast taking you across America to meet the most badass tradespeople, industry leaders, and personalities. If you're looking to level up in the trades, you're in the right place. All right, we're here in northern Maine with Jacob Knowles. We did a podcast with you probably 4 years ago, and we'll run through the background and everything, but wanted to check in on you, see how things were going. Obviously, we're in the hull of a new boat, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
But welcome back.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. So, lobsterman from northern Maine, 5th generation.
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. And you got into it early on in your life.
My whole life. Yep.
Tell us how you got into it.
I started out as a kid, as long as I can remember. I started out going on my father's boat. And yeah, like you said, 5th generation. So it came full circle too. Once I got a little bit older and started taking it more seriously, my grandfather started coming with me on the boat as a stern man, not only to help me, but also to teach me. So I learned from my father and my grandfather, started at a young age, worked up through several boats, upgrading along the way. And this one's the final upgrade.
Yeah, it's awesome. And, we had touched base on, like I said, what's next? This was 2022? I said kind of like, what's next? Can you scale a fleet? And you said you're restricted to being owner operator.
Yeah.
You can't have a fleet of boats or whatever. So I guess for you, the next thing would have been a bigger and better boat.
A bigger and better boat. That's what we're building. Yeah. I can't hire people to run it, which is pretty unique. Most fisheries around the world, you can hire people to run your boats, and you can have several boats. So it's a good thing, I guess, for small business on the coast of Maine.
Yeah.
Every lobster you buy from Maine is coming from a small working family.
Yeah. Yeah. And even down to, so my father worked at he did lobster bait down, what was it? Deer Isle area, Stonington or wherever it is.
Yep.
And they're just bagging bait and then giving it to the stern men and out you guys go. But that was even a family operation too.
The bait. Yeah. It's crazy how far the lobster industry leaks into the Maine economy.
Yeah.
It drives everything. There's so many industries depend on the money generated with the lobster industry. Carpentry, I mean, you name it.
Yeah, that's cool. So definitely this is the biggest boat you've had.
Yep.
When you first started out, what was it, 7th grade, right? And you got your apprentice license or whatever it's called? Yeah,
my student license had 150 tags. The boat was not much. It was pretty rough. It was a skiff, I don't know, 20. It might have been 20 feet, 20-ish feet. I can't remember the exact length. Little boat, Briggs & Stratton gas motor to run the hauler, and straight exhaust pipe coming out of the Briggs & Stratton, and it blew out in your face right here. So you fired that thing up, and it was blowing right in your face. The boat would only turn to the right. It would turn to the left, but it'd take you so long to get where you were going to the left. It was quicker to turn to the right.
Yeah.
So the steering, we had 10 degrees to the left and 40 to the right.
Now, was that just you on that?
No, so my dad would haul his traps. He had 800 traps in the water at that time. I don't know how old I was, 12, 13. He'd haul his traps, and then when he got in at the end of the day, he'd jump into that with me and go haul, which I got coming soon because my 2 sons are 5 and soon to be 7, and they love it already. So especially my oldest, he's talking about getting his first boat, and so I got that double duty coming.
Do you have one in mothballs right now, a little skiff that? Not
yet, but he's been talking about what he's going to get and how he's going to get it. He said he's talking the other day, he's going to start saving money for it. I'm like, well, I started to introduce the loan concept to him. I said, well, I'll help you get your first boat, and you can pay it back as you go, and it's kind of surreal. It's a full circle moment, and I will, especially once it comes time to do it. Tending 800 traps myself, and then coming in and going back out with him. It's a lot to add to. I know after you get done hauling your traps and working full time, when you get back to land, the last thing you want to do is get in a little skiff and go back out and do it again. So I have a great appreciation for Dad doing that for me.
So how many traps could you tend to as on your student license?
Student was 150.
Really?
Yeah.
And you went to 150.
That was what I think that's what the student license is. I'm a little rusty, and things have changed now a lot since then. That was quite a while ago now. It's hard to believe that was, what is that? Almost 20 years?
20 years probably, yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah. So you were tending 150 traps with a little skiff.
The little skiff, yeah.
In 7th and 8th
In the afternoons, after Dad got off the boat, we'd go out. we tend those traps. That's where I learned. We got some funny stories because Dad just, of course, wanted to teach me how to do it.
Yep.
He also wanted to get through the 150 traps as quick as he could because he'd already been on the water all day. So,
How many traps on a line?
at that time they were pairs or singles, so one or two traps.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, it was education.
And you did that 7 days a week?
No, we'd haul. I don't remember. It was probably 2 or 3 days a week, depending on how the fishing was.
Okay.
If the fishing got good, we'd probably haul them more frequently, but probably 3 days a week.
Now, obviously, he went out deeper, but
So I'd go out with him on those days as well. So I was fishing in that little skiff 2 or 3 days a week, but I'd also go with him 2 or 3 days a week as well. So I was getting double. I was getting the education on the skiff as the captain, and then the education on his boat as the stern man. So I went on his boat quite a bit growing up. Especially even younger than 12 and 13. I don't remember the age when I started going with him, but it was probably much younger than that.
now were you when you stepped on that boat, you were green, obviously, but how quickly did you get your responsibilities on your dad's boat?
Yeah. I was young when I first started, so I probably didn't have too many expectations at that time. I was more coming just to enjoy it and have fun. But once I probably turned 11 or 12, 10, 11, 12, something like that. Started actually baiting bags, measuring, helping on deck. I can't remember. I don't think I had too many expectations at that time, but they put me to work.
Yep. So what's an average for a deckhand on a lobster boat? What do you kind of do from start to finish?
Throughout the day. So every boat's different. Some guys will take one crew, and then some boats will take two. In our case, we take two, the stern man and the third man. The stern man will help land the traps, pull them into the boat, take the lobsters out of the traps, slide them back to the third man. Third man will have the bait ready to go in. He'll take the old bait out, put new bait in, and then they'll set them back out. Stern man. The third man will get bait ready for the next traps coming up.
Yep.
And then they'll work together on measuring, banding, sorting lobsters. So it's a pretty smooth, well-oiled machine once you get some repetitions in. Once you get a good crew, we kind of work seamlessly throughout the day without having to talk too much.
Yeah. So on obviously smaller operations, the captain is involved a lot. Are you just going to be on the helm a lot more now?
I'll probably run this one similar to how I run mine now. I'll have the option because I'll have the wheelhouse like we talked about ahead of me, where I could hypothetically get up in there and work from inside and maybe take another crew or something. But for the foreseeable future, I'm going to stay with the crew. So I'll be helping. Most of the time I get hands on with the trap. So my job is running the boat, gaffing the buoys and running the hauler, bringing them up, and I'll help them land the traps. And that's most of my job. But when the fishing gets good, they get backed up, and I'll help them pick lobsters out of the traps. I'll stay involved even on this boat.
How many traps do you run through a day? All of them?
No, so we fish 800, and we'll do 400 each day. If the fishing's good, sometimes we'll do 500 or 600. But
okay. When's the best time? Are the lobsters migratory?
Yeah, so it's open year round, which is pretty unique.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have a season, so we can go now. Actually, we went yesterday. This time of year kind of sucks. It's funny enough. We made a video on the last day we hauled all the things that we don't like about lobster fishing this time of year.
Right.
But yeah, so the good time is more in the summer. The good months, the water warms up, the lobsters become much more active. They do migrate. They come in shore for shedding. And they're a lot easier to trap. This time of year, the water gets cold. They don't move. They become much more dormant. They go for deep water, so you got to go a lot farther to get them. The weather sucks. Summertime, fall, it's definitely much more enjoyable.
Now, does the price per pound inflate enough for it to be cost effective for you to fish all year round, or
you can do it? This year's been exceptionally low for whatever reason. We've had a poor price this winter, but usually the January, February price will get up 10, 11, 12 bucks.
Okay.
So yeah, the low volume gets offset by the high price. You can make money in the winter if it really all comes down to how the weather is for that winter. If you get good stretches of good weather where you can actually get out 3 days a week, you can make money in the winter. But this winter, I mean, we've had stretches of 10, 12 days, 14 days of wind, and it's hard to make money when you do get out. You got to divide it across the 14 days you didn't go. It's really not much profit per day.
Yeah, and I don't know how much you know about the supply chain, but I'm just curious because it's kind of interesting. Like with the tuna industry, a lot of the tuna obviously go to the ice house and then overseas.
Yep.
Right. And obviously some stay here, but even with, crab leg or Alaskan king crab, they travel all over the United States and all over the world. I spent some time down in Florida, and I didn't realize they had a pretty robust lobster program down there too. But awful spiny lobsters are not my thing. But does your product stay mainly in the New England area? How does it travel?
A large percentage of our lobsters are soft-shelled lobsters, which can't survive shipping very well. So a large percentage of the lobsters that get landed in Maine get processed in Canada.
Okay.
They have processing facilities there that break them down into meat, and for whatever reason, they can do it a lot cheaper than we can.
Yeah.
To the point where we can't open. I mean, we do have some processing here, but nothing on the scale of what they have there. So a large percentage of the lobsters get sent over there, processed, and then sold back after it's been processed. Like, of course, some of it stays in house. The hard shells will stay in the country and get shipped as live lobsters, but a lot of the shatters get sold to processors.
Interesting. Now, I didn't want to get political, and I'm not going to, but it's kind of interesting on the crossing of the border and everything.
Yeah.
How did the whole tariff thing affect the industry?
Yeah, there were some questions around it in the beginning. It ended up. I'm not super well informed on how it all went down and all the details, but we got an exemption on lobsters with Canada, to my understanding. So it didn't really affect us too badly. I think there were separate issues that were having an effect where Canada and China were having a tariff tiff, and Canada wasn't able to send as many lobsters over there as they normally do, so they were having to dump them back over here, which was flooding our market. So there was a little effect there, but
I wonder if that's what kept price per pound down.
Price per pound over most of the year wasn't too far below average. We held pretty average for most of the year. It wasn't until like late. It was November, December, which is usually when we see the price rising. This year, it dropped, which was different.
Yeah.
I don't know what drove it. And again, I'm not
an economist.
I don't stay too up to date on all that stuff. I tend to just go to work.
Yeah. Sometimes there's speculation among industries and just kind of understanding, what effects, outside influences have on the industry and why it would be a good industry to get in or why it would be a bad time to. I mean, you talk oil and gas, you talk construction, if there's not a building boom, it's, tough to be a general contractor out there building houses.
Yeah.
So just kind of getting into the nitty gritty of how the lobstering industry works. But it was kind of interesting. Last time we had talked, we were talking about the right whale situation in Maine. And that was kind of a big topic for the lobstering community, and kind of wanted to check in at A, give a little background on it, and B, where it kind of is now.
Yeah. So the right whales back then was at a pretty stressful time for the Maine lobster industry. There was a lot of questions around what was going to happen. The right whales are an endangered species of whale, and the worry was that the Maine lobster gear was causing entanglement risk to the right whale. So just to give you a brief background, for as long as I can remember, as long as I've been fishing, we've been marking our gear with certain colors. We'll put the color markers on our ropes. Different areas in New England, up and down the coast, have to use different colors in their ropes. So if they find an entanglement with right whales, or if they find multiple, they can identify where the rope came from and identify where there might be a concentration of whales, or where there might be a higher problem where they can put more effort into solving it.
Right.
Fortunately for us, we have a very good track record with our color markings. And we've done a lot of things to reduce the risk. When we left off, we were talking about ways that we can reduce risk further. We'd already done a lot up until that point, but they were looking for us to do more. So basically all up and down the coast, there were discussions being had of how we were going to get our risk down lower. They had a way of measuring what kind of risk we posed. And there were a bunch of ideas. Some ideas were scary, some ideas were manageable. And we ended up putting weak links in the rope. So if they get tangled up in the rope, they can break them free, and they don't get stuck in them. So that got us down below. That combined with reducing the amount of end lines in the water by adding more gear to each end line, removed enough end lines. We were able to get the risk down to a manageable point where we're at pretty good place, and the right whales are having a good calving season this year. There hasn't been. I think this was the best calving year that they've had. Their numbers are starting to go up. They've been kind of flat, I guess, for a while.
That's awesome.
So there's some light at the end of the tunnel for that. There's going to be another update closer to 2030. I think 28, 29. They're going to look at it again. So, but for now, we got a moment to breathe.
I mean, outside of obviously the environmental concerns, which, we had talked about some of the, 99% of hunting and fishing, anybody who does it cares about their fishery or where they hunt and obviously the health of that environment and the species that they're harvesting. But it was affecting distribution. I mean, at the time, Whole Foods had dropped you guys.
Yeah, so Monterey Bay red listed us.
Yeah.
And when that happened, like Whole Foods in several different places, just because of the red listing, had to take Maine lobster off. That's still standing. So that's still having a lasting effect on the price.
Interesting. Do you see that reversing possibly, or
if the red listing goes away, then I think it goes back pretty quick.
Yeah.
That's a big supply chain. That's a big avenue of sales for us.
Yeah. So, and then that red listing, that's, you guys are waiting for this to come, like a report to come out?
Yeah. I don't know exactly where that stands at the moment. Yeah, not sure.
Yeah. No, that's fine. We can look into it.
Yep.
It was just, so many outside influences are making it harder and harder to make a living on the water.
Yeah. There's a lot of angles making lobstering tough.
So that being said, when it comes to, 6th generation, 7th generation, are you guys seeing a resurgence of people coming into the industry? Are more people leaving the industry? I know there was a wait list for commercial lobstering license. Just in general, you got to wait your time to get that license. Obviously, somebody needs to leave for one to free up. Is the demand still there, or is it kind of dwindling?
Yeah, there's people getting into it. This year again was a lower on the lower side of average for poundage, and then also on the lower side of average for price. So this year's kind of hurt for as far as people getting into it. But yeah, there's the waiting lists are still long, and it's not 1-to-1. Each zone's a little different. But like ours for a long time was I can't even remember now. They just recently changed it. But up and down the coast, they're anywhere from 2-to-1 to 3-to-1. 2 or 3 people have to get out before one can get in.
Yeah.
So the total active licenses are dropping. I don't know if there's a certain target that the state's going for. To when they hit a certain threshold, they'll start opening it up more to accelerate the waiting list or not. But there's young kids getting into it. For the past 10 or 15 years, specifically in the harbor that I fish out of, there wasn't too many kids getting in. But over the past 2 or 3, especially within the last 3 or 4 years, there's been several people get their license in our harbor, and some new boats, some young fishermen joining our co-op.
Yep.
So it's nice to see because our co-op is run, we have 20, 30 boats in the co-op. We all collectively own the facility. But the average age of the members in the co-op, especially the high contributing members, are older.
Yeah.
The highliners of the co-op are older fishermen.
What I found interesting about Maine is that they actually seem to be pretty responsive with population increases and decreases. I know in southern Maine, the deer population times how many active hunters are getting into the sport or still remaining. They've opened up doe permits and stuff like that. So that, usually what we see with any government agency is once it's gone, it's gone. Mm-hmm. What's been kind of interesting about Maine is, they've kind of followed the trends of the herds. Yeah. Now, do you see that in the lobstering industry? They're pretty responsive to it, or you got to do a lot of lobbying?
We're a little unique because we're not managed or sustained through a quota. Mm-hmm. So it's not like we can catch X amount of pounds. If we go over that, we're in trouble. We're more sustained through the way that our traps are designed, and the slot limits of what we're allowed to keep. So we're letting anything go over 5 inches. We're letting anything go under 4 1/4. We're letting all the breeding females go. We're actually allowed to keep most of the lobsters that are of legal size each year.
Yeah.
So it's not, again, regulated through any kind of quotas that they could monitor.
Okay.
That they could, you know what I mean? Each year, it's not like they're watching it each year. They're watching like the biomass and the rate that we're harvesting in our landings each year. And they do a bunch of different scientific studies all up and down the coast. They do larval studies and ventless trap surveys, and they're constantly studying the lobster population, monitoring that way.
Yeah.
And we've been very safe for a long time, managed that way. And I guess there have been times throughout history where we exceeded the threshold of where they felt was safe for the amount of effort that we were putting into it, and that's when new regulations would be imposed and added. But we haven't done that. We haven't hit any critical points like that for a while.
How's the labor industry on your side, like sternmen, deckhands? You guys hurting for work or?
Yeah. I think everywhere's feeling that, isn't it?
Interesting.
I'm lucky. I got a good crew. Both the guys have been on for, Cody's been on for a while now. Tristan's been on a couple of years. They're both great. We have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, workers are hard to come by.
I wonder if it's the fact that Maine has been dubbed the vacation land and has the oldest not oldest working population, has the oldest population per capita. I think the majority of people are up there in age, and a lot of the working class have kind of left Maine for other opportunities elsewhere. So
makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see how well. Again, you retire up here, you summer up here, you're going to need that infrastructure. It'll be interesting to see what Maine does to bring back trades and stuff here. I know we've been working with a couple of trade schools in the area, one in Waldo, one out of Sanford, and then one out of Westbrook. But their numbers they're growing, but they're not what they should be, or to satisfy the fact that the baby boomers are leaving.
Right. Yeah, I recently joined a year. I've been on there a year. The Maine Lobstermen Association, who's a board made up of fishermen that advocate for fishermen, and they're doing a student program on there, or at least some kind of education stuff. We've been talking about that a bit, just to try to help on that front. Yeah.
So I know, when I talked with Dave Marciano out of Gloucester, he was on Wicked Tuna, and he had the boat, the Angelica. He had mentioned that that fishery was kind of hurting and what have you. And if it wasn't until Wicked Tuna came along that he had new opportunities, and obviously with the digital age and being able to put your craft or your trade out there on Instagram, YouTube, all the platforms. And then, this kind of resurgence of the old way of doing things, or sustainable living, or, micro farms and this, that, and the other thing. I know I'm a little bit of a product myself, didn't grow up in farming, but decided to make the pivot in my life to doing it. How well has that kind of helped you out with this business specifically?
Yeah. The diversifying in anything I can has been good.
Yeah.
If I was depending on just lobstering this year with the lower average catch and the lower average price, it would have been a tougher year.
We probably wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah, we definitely wouldn't be sitting in a brand new lobster boat for sure. It would be built on just the hopes and dreams of lobstering for sure. Diversifying has been good. I've diversified over the years into some real estate, and as you mentioned, the social media stuff has been good and fun. I enjoy doing the social media stuff, so it's nice to get paid for doing something that I have fun doing, and sharing the way of life, and just teaching the world about lobster fishing.
Yeah, I really admire your sharing in general, because it's very informative. It's obviously shedding a positive light on the industry and conservation and what have you. So, it's the more heroic side, the way I put it, in Instagram and TikTok. Like, that's the stuff that I want my kids to consume rather than other people. It's you're the heroes of the United States. If I was to put a label on it, the fact that you guys are out there, building and supplying and feeding the populace, and I think that's great. My father said to me when I was young, is like, I don't care what you do, as long as you're a productive member of society.
Yeah.
And I think to some degree, people do their job, go home, and produce, but like you've taken it above and beyond. Granted, there's some rewards and some perks that come with it, but at the end of the day, some days it's probably like, I'd rather not cut and edit a video or
it's
film
a lot of juggling.
Yeah. So you were talking about building. Walk me through that. Like you bought some houses, or what were you doing there?
So we stumbled across the property that was going up for auction right in our hometown, and we've been looking to try to tap into short-term rentals.
Yeah.
For a little while at that point. We were hoping to do it with like a couple properties.
Yeah.
Like get our toes wet. You know, we hadn't done it before. That specific property had 10 on it, and they were very old. They were run down. They were built in like the 1920s, 1930s, and they were to the point where they should have just been ripped down. We got a good deal on it at the auction. Not many people showed up. It was online, and it was kind of crazy the way it all worked out. It was crazy that it worked, because when we found out the property was going up for auction, the auction was ending in 24 hours. So we didn't even know we were going to buy this place.
That's crazy.
We bought it within 24 hours. And we were like excited and nervous at the same time. We were like, oh crap, what did we just do? No, we got to fix these things up. My wife's father's a contractor, and he's a jack of all trades with all things building. So we're blessed there. But so we went in, and we didn't just rip them down because they were close enough to the ocean. They had grandfathered rights. So we went in and we fixed up 5 of them. And then the back 5 were outside of the zone of grandfathered rights. So we replaced the back 5. We fixed up the front 5. It took us like a year and a half to fix them all up and get them perfect. And then January of, I can't remember the year, 22 or 3, a storm, monster, like historical storm, wiped out all kinds of working waterfront. You probably remember the storm I'm talking about, from Portland all the way to Eastport. Wharfs and buildings that had been standing for 100 years. Well, those buildings were there since 1926. And we fixed them up, and they got destroyed. Well, I shouldn't say destroyed. They got beat up pretty bad. They flooded the insides of them, pushed some of them off of their piers, and it made a mess. So we were back to square one. We started over, dumped a bunch more money into them. But anyway, long story short, we got them up and going. We've been going for a couple of years now. They've been another good source of diversification. Granted, they got a little more dead on them than I was hoping since the storm, but it's been good. I advertise them on my social media, and we have a bunch of followers and fans come up and stay in them, and we've done lobster cookouts there and stuff, so it's been fun. Yeah,
it's actually really cool because, again, to my point of Maine being the vacation land, it is, from inside the interior of Maine, from the lakes region and, Acadia and the Appalachian Trail and all that stuff. I mean, then you get to the coast. It's, it's pretty cool when people are like, oh, I'm coming to Maine. What can I do? And I'm like, I don't know. From southern Maine to northern Maine is about an 8-hour trip. So I go, you can do anything from, skiing to going to the coast. And I mean, there's just so much to do here.
It's very, it's two different worlds from the coast to inland. I mean, they're both beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, just driving Old Route 1 is crazy. And it was funny because when I was first stationed, my first duty station was Key West. So I was at the bottom, the southernmost point. And we're pretty much at the northernmost point. So, and then is this where you want to be for the rest of your life?
This is where I'll be, permanently. We'd like to get a camp up north or something, or a nice camp that we could go spend some time in the winters, because I do have some time off in the winters, where we could spend some time up there ice fishing, snowmobiling and skiing and stuff. I'd love to get up on Moosehead or something, somewhere up in that region, Greenville, Millinocket, anywhere. I love the North Maine woods.
It's I did some hunting up here, and it's it's peaceful. There's nothing. You could easily get turned around, but it's nice. It's nice. And you're still getting out there on your plane?
Yep. I just got that, brought it back a week or 2 ago. We've got some early ice, which has been nice. The ice on the coast has been hit or miss for the last 5 or 6 years. But the last 2, knock on wood, have been pretty good for winter activities. We got some snow and some ice, and I got the plane on skis right now right up the road, actually.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And isn't there an ice or snow runway in New Hampshire?
Alton Bay. It's on Winnipesaukee.
Yeah, have you made it?
I haven't been there, but I've heard it's awesome. The town, everybody that goes there says it's awesome. So I should. It's not a very far plane ride.
Yeah, it was funny because I watched some of the footage from last year. I guess they have a lot of slide offs. And
Yeah.
I think somebody crashed there.
Yeah. There's usually a lot of activity.
Do you get up north to do a lot of brook trout fishing and stuff?
That's my heart. Yeah. I love fishing for native brook trout.
But there's not bad brook trout fishing over here.
Yeah.
They don't know where we are.
That's right.
But I actually got a chance to go out and do a little brook trout fishing for the first time. I never did it, and it was a good time. And it's kind of funny when you talk to the game wardens up here. They don't care if you have a beer in the car or if you're carrying a rifle or anything. They just want to see what's in your cooler for fish.
Yeah. They're going to protect fish.
That's all they care about. They're like, what? My 9-year-old could be driving the truck.
That's right. As long as you don't get a fish.
But yeah, no, it's good. It's quiet. It's peaceful living up here. And when we were going through town down there, it seemed pretty busy. A lot of traffic. Are there a lot more people coming up this way?
It's just local traffic.
Okay.
Yeah. The tourism slows down a lot up here in the winter.
Yeah. Do you see a lot more year-rounders, or it really slows down?
We have more year-rounders now than we did pre-COVID.
Yeah.
But it's pretty quiet for the most part.
Awesome. So you got the kids. The kids are going to start getting into this.
Yep.
Do you want it for them?
I'm going to encourage them to do whatever they want to do. I don't think I'm going to talk my oldest son out of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna help him every way I can.
Yeah.
And same for my middle kid, my son, and my daughter Allie, if she wants to do it.
Yeah. So how much of the back end work, is your father still?
Yeah,
fishing?
he's fishing full time. So we're kind of fishing side by side. It's friendly competition now.
And I haven't asked, is your grandfather still with us?
No, my grandfather passed away a couple of years ago.
Was he still fishing up until then?
No, he got hurt. He hurt his shoulder trying to save a boat that broke its mooring.
Yeah.
And his shoulder was never right since then. So he stopped fishing probably, I can't remember how old he was when he stopped. He stopped fishing full time actually when I was probably like 16 years old, because he started going with me, stern man. He was like my first official stern man.
Interesting.
Yeah. So from the time I was 16 to 18, so what that had been 17, 18 years ago is I guess when he stopped.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you a question around that. So when it comes to the license, they just have to be present on the boat. So like when you get up there in age,
yeah, he could
just be sitting on a bucket with a whole crew.
He could continue to do that, but it's not in his blood to do.
Yeah.
He could never ever sit down and watch his crew work. There's no way.
It's honorable, and it speaks to the craft, and obviously, him departing the industry opens up, well, hopefully a potential license for somebody coming in. I know it's like 3-1 or 2-1 or whatever, but it allows the next generation to come in and start working the fisheries and being a part of that. Cool. So what? Let's talk about this boat, right? Yep. So what kind of drove you to want to do this? I know some people, their boat's reaching the end of the life, or, it's really not working out for them. And then, a couple of good seasons or whatnot, or diversification. But walk me through how you were, thinking about, how did this come all about?
Yeah. It's something that I've always wanted to do, but it never really was a smart decision to do, because the lobsters, truthfully, don't really care too much if you got a nice shiny new boat or if you got an older boat, as long as the mechanical parts of the bones are good, which is what I've always had for boats, and it's the way I was raised. Have good traps, have the best traps you can have, put the best bait you can in them, and keep all the good mechanical parts of your boat good. And don't spend a fortune. You don't need to spend a fortune on your boat. Is kind of the way I was always raised. So I always wanted to build a new boat, but I was always raised with, like, my boat was working for lobstering, and truthfully, if I was just going to lobster fish for the rest of time, I would stay in my current boat right now. It's a great lobster boat, and it gets done 90% of what I want to do throughout the year. Or maybe more like 80. I'll probably be a little bit more efficient in this boat, the size and the speed. I can lug more weight. I can be more mobile with my traps. So I will increased my lobster catch a little bit with this boat, but it's not the main. It's not the main advantage.
Yeah.
We were, I mean, honestly, filming on the boat. Oftentimes we have multiple people, a camera guy on the boat, or we have guests come up and want to go to haul. And I want to do more tuna fishing, more halibut fishing. I want to do more fun things on the ocean, which I could do in my current boat, and it's just not quite as comfortable. And then like the bait fishing, it was a big thing. I recently, in 2020, was able to get 2019, 2018, somewhere in there, I was able to get my bait fishing license, which is hard to get now. But my boat is like on the smaller side of what I would like to have for bait. There's just like 4 or 5 things now.
Yeah.
That would be so much nicer with this boat than the boat that I'm in. And all of those 4 or 5 things added up together. And then like the content alone of the build, like it's just, I'm excited to be here and build it and learn about it and share it.
Yeah.
So it's another content angle. And it's been great content on YouTube. It's been fun.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure catching up with you. It was cool to be able to come up to your area and see it. Obviously, the best time to catch you is in the off season.
For sure.
But once this thing gets in the water, we got to get out here and shoot some content. It'll be.
Let's go catch a tuna fish.
Yeah, we'll bring Andy out.
Smell fiberglass. Let's smell fish in the next one.
Oh, I don't smell fiberglass anymore. I've been in this building for so long. But yeah, I mean, again, if anybody wants to follow you, where can they find you?
It's just Jacob Knowles, Knowles on all platforms.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you for diving deep into this, and good luck in this next season.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries.